Hey, folks, Dr. Joe here. Glad you're with me today. We got to get our cameras set up. So if you've played this game before, you know what happens. We take a few seconds to get our camera set up. The way this works is I'm going to speak for 24 minutes. If you have any health questions whatsoever, type in whatever platform you're on. We're streaming on several platforms. And John, my producer, will ask me the question at the end of 24 minutes. I will answer your question if I have an answer. Then we'll do another 24 minutes, and then we'll answer some more questions. So this is a great opportunity for you to ask any health questions you have because so many people don't know where to turn. Sometimes I don't know where to turn. And so the healthcare system is kind of tough to navigate. And if you go into certain systems, like even a hospital, you'll just get referred to doctors in that hospital network. If you go here, you'll go into that network. But many times you may not have the facilities that you need within that network, and then you're stuck. So we're very objective here. I'm going to try to give you the best information I can to try to get you well and keep you well. So once John sets up the cameras, he says, I'm ready to go. We're going to rock and roll. So please, any health questions you have, please ask them while we're on the air. And if you have any questions beside that, I'll tell you, go to my website, drjoe.com, in case we're done afterwards. Ready, John? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. I'm glad you're with me today. We're going to talk today about foods that crush food cravings. How do you feel full and eat healthy? Because there's a big buzz, I'm sure you've heard about it, the GLP-1 agonists, those medications that one in 7 people or 1 in 6 people are taking right now to lose weight. And do they work? Usually, yes, short term. But one of the side effects that happens is something called sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is muscle wasting. If you take these medications, depending on the study you read, you lose about a third of the weight you lose is actually muscle mass. And muscles are important because they hold your bones together, they give you strength, they help your heart beat, your lungs breathe, your colon digest food, your sex organs work. And so we're wasting muscle in the process of losing weight. And that's a really scary side effect of it. Also, we're starting to see certain people having eye problems, thyroid problems, heart problems. Gastroparesis is another problem. Gastroparesis means your digestive system slows down to the point where it's hardly moving. And when you come off these medications, it's hard to jumpstart the bowels again. And that's an issue. And the other problem is, too, that once you come off the medications, a lot of people just gain the weight right back because it didn't fix the cause. It treated the symptoms. So we're going to talk about treating the cause today, as we do in every show we've ever done. We always want to get to the cause of your healthcare problems, not just treat the symptoms. Losing weight is tough. Not going to lie. It's challenging. Foods taste good. We're used to eating foods. We get high from the food. Certain foods stimulate the nucleus accumbens in our brain, and it releases dopamine, and we get pleasure from it. So I'm just like you. I always said, if I eat a cookie, I want more cookies. If I eat bread, I want more bread. If I eat sugar, I want more sugar. And so what we have to do is calm down our brain, because our brain gets so excited when it gets these chemicals like sugar in there that it just wants more. Same thing with alcohol. And so we need to downregulate, it's called, or calm down the brain so that you can have a little bit of whatever it is and not totally lose your mind. So the biggest challenge that people have is, what can I eat? What am I going to eat that's going to make me feel full? If I eat a salad, I'm going to be hungry. I'm going to want cake afterwards. We all do it. I'm just like you. I feel the same way. So there are certain foods that give you enough nutrients and enough proteins to make you feel full. So getting enough protein is really one of the big things. Most of us get too much protein. So this whole thing about I need to eat more meat, I need to take protein shakes, that's a fallacy. Even the American Dietetic Association, who's pretty conservative in their opinions on things, says that if you're eating enough fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, and you're maintaining your weight and your energy level, you're getting more than enough protein, generally speaking. I've been in practice almost 40 years. I've seen very few cases where anyone ever was low in protein. And if it was, they usually have diarrhea, they're vomiting, maybe they have bulimia, maybe cancer. But other than that, the average person gets way more protein than they need. I don't eat animals. I eat a plant-based diet. And I'm probably getting 50 to 60% more protein than I actually need. And that's not looking, I'm going to eat beans, I'm going to eat lentils. No, that's part of my diet, but I'm not focusing on trying to get more high-protein foods. So most of us get more than enough protein than we need, but if you're going to be eating salads and things like this, you're going to feel hungry. So what foods can we eat to make us feel full so that we eat less food and we break those cravings? That's what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to go a list of healthy proteins, healthy foods, I should say. And we're going to start with the ones that have the least amount, the least effect, and we're going to end up with the ones that have the most effect. And of course, you're going to want to know the ones that have the most effect. And the nice part about this list is it's way cheaper than anything else you're eating. So you're going to save money, probably live longer, probably lose weight, probably be healthier, probably have better brain function, better sexual function, sleep better, go to the bathroom better. There's really no downside to this except one. And that one thing is the thing that keeps people from doing this. And that one thing is that the bad foods taste good. That's it. Bad foods taste good. I know that. You know that. But when we start having an awareness of what we're putting in our bodies and the effects it's having on our bodies, that's when you can make a better decision. What I try to teach you is when you look at any meal you have from now for the rest of your life, look at that meal and ask yourself a simple question. Is this the best choice that I can make at this moment in time? If I'm going to go to a Mexican restaurant, I can do a beef burrito with cheese on it, or I can do a bean burrito with guacamole on it. Better choice. Is it an ideal choice? Probably not. There's probably a lot of salts, maybe some bad oils that are in the beans, but it's a better choice at that moment in time. If I can eat a sandwich with 2 pieces of bread or one, maybe do one. Little changes like this really make a huge difference over time. And that's what I'm trying to educate you on. So let's go some healthy foods that you can start adding to your diet that can help you feel full, break the sugar cravings, and help on so many different levels. So the least important one, I'm going to start the least one, would be something called flax seeds. Now, flax seeds, if you've never had them, they I don't know, look like little grains of rice kind of, and they're brown. And you can do flax seeds, very high in fiber. They make you feel full, and fiber is one of the things that help you feel full because it swells up in your colon, makes you feel full. If you do too many flax seeds, it can cause gas. If you eat flax seeds, you want to make sure you drink a lot of water because the flax seeds can actually clog up your colon. They create what's called a bolus or just this ball, and if you don't have enough water to kind of flush it through, it can become an issue. And the one thing I want you to do with flax seeds is when you buy them, put them in the freezer because they have fats in them. And the fats can go rancid, and the rancidity slows down dramatically when you put it in the freezer. So put it in the freezer, take it out, and grind it up before you eat them. So you can use a coffee grinder, blender. If you take a whole flaxseed, it's going to pass right through you. If you grind it up, now that fiber is released, those proteins are released, and it actually have a much better impact. And the good fats are released, which is great. Brussels sprouts. Who would have thought Brussels sprouts make you feel full? I know this. I eat a lot of Brussels sprouts. But you were forced to eat these things as a kid. Everybody hated them. Then your taste grew, and you said, oh, now I like Brussels sprouts. I think they're great. They're high in iron, high in vitamin C. You can roast them, saute them. Many times if I get a bag of them on sale, I'll just boil them up and just pop them in my mouth as a little snack that way. It's easy to find recipes with Brussels sprouts, but usually just broil them. You can put a little coconut oil on them and broil it. But here's another benefit of Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts have something in it called diandol methane. Diandol methane is an aromatase inhibitor. There's 2 big words, diandol methane, aromatase inhibitor. There's an enzyme that converts your testosterone into estrogen. We all have it, men and women. And as I get older, men get older, you're converting more testosterone into estrogen, which is one of the reasons why our testosterone levels are lower. There's other reasons too. You don't produce it like you used to. You're not as active as you used to be. But the diandol methane can slow down the conversion of testosterone into estrogen. They'll give this to women that have estrogen-sensitive breast cancer, but they'll give it to them as a drug, aromatase inhibitors, to prevent the body from producing more estrogen. So we want to lower our estrogen production as we get older, and a nice way to do it is taking in something that has diandol methane in it, which would be Brussels sprouts. So Brussels sprouts will make you feel full, but also help with estrogen. And men especially, we're losing out testosterone quickly, we can slow it down. We're going to stop it? No. Can we slow it down? Yes. Another thing that makes you feel full, and you probably never thought about these things, and now you eat them, you're going to say, oh, yeah, I do feel full when I eat these things, is sweet potatoes. They're packed with nutrients, and they're actually, you can cook them the same way you make regular potatoes. You can just bake them. And what I'll do is if I have a sweet potato, you want to punch a few holes in it so it doesn't burst. Put it in the oven, bake it. And if you do that, when you're done cooking it, put it in a refrigerator overnight, and then eat it the next day. And that creates something called a resistant starch. Now, resistant starches, you absorb about 40-50% less carbohydrates when you do this than if you ate the sweet potato fresh, or any potato, or any rice, or any pasta, anything that's a carbohydrate. And so you create this resistant starch, you get the nutrients, but you don't get all the sugar from it. Now, you can heat it up the next day or eat it cold. Either way is fine with me. And the sweet potato is great. You could chop it up, put it in salads, mix it with quinoa. Quinoa is a grain that's very high in protein. We'll talk about that a little bit. And that'll make you feel full. So if you made a sweet potato and quinoa salad and add some celery to it, and maybe some apple cider vinegar and extra virgin organic olive oil and parsley and cilantro and whatever seasonings you want to add, very filling, very tasty, and very inexpensive. So now I just made a salad that's good for me and curbs my appetite, as opposed to eating something that's bad for me and makes me crave it more, like candies or cookies or cakes. So if you're just tuning in, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. We're talking today about foods that make you feel full, because there's a big concern on my part, and certainly a lot of other experts as well, with these medications, the GLP-1 agonists. And what's happening is they're having a lot of side effects. And so we're concerned about that. Is there a better way to help curb our appetite? And the answer is a resounding yes. When you're hungry, you're not really hungry for food, you're hungry for nutrition. And so what I'm giving you today is your foods that are jam-packed with nutrients and also proteins, and also help curb your appetite, and fiber. We just talked about Brussels sprouts helping balance out your hormones in certain cases. So there's really no downside to doing any of this. And that's what I always try to do. If you've listened to me, I've been on the air now 17 years maybe altogether. I've been lecturing for 40 years. I've been in practice 40 years. And so I try to give you facts or tips that you can use every single day to get well and stay well. That's my goal. What can I give you today to help you get well and stay well? And if you listen to me, we've got a ton of information. If you go to the website, drjoe.com, we have over 4,000 hours of content on the website. You can just search the website for whatever you're looking for. We have podcasts. We do 2 podcasts a week. We do radio shows, television shows. Everything is archived on our website. If you're a podcast junkie, just go to podcast Dr. Joe for the health of it. Dr. Joe for the health of it. Add that to your podcast favorites. Listen to it when you can. Listen to it all the time if you want to. And there's so much information out there that eventually I'm going to get this information into your brain. Because the human brain, I find, needs to hear something about 11 times before it actually kicks in. And so that's why we have to go over and over and over again with it. And so that's why if you listen to the podcast, listen to the old radio shows, the TV shows, it's great. And if send me any questions you have, just go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. Send me your health questions. If I have an answer, I'll give it to you. I usually do have an answer, by the way. So drjoe.com, great source of information. Artichokes. Now, I love artichokes. My grandmother taught my father, who taught me how to make the best artichokes in the world. It's not really debatable. I'm sorry. I'm right on this one. I make the best artichokes in the world. And it's in my first book I ever wrote called Eating Right for the Health of It. Actually has the artichoke recipe in it. But artichokes are great. There's not a lot of meat. We always call it the artichoke meat. There's not a lot of substance to the artichoke, but it's loaded with good fats. It's loaded with proteins and very filling. I can eat 2 artichokes and be stuffed, and as opposed to eating a lot of other food and not feeling full at all, like breads and pastas and things like that. So it's amazing. You can do artichoke hearts if you want to. That's how a lot of people know what artichokes are. But the whole artichoke itself, it's actually a flower, and it's a flower that hasn't bloomed yet. That's what an artichoke is. And if it ever blooms, if you've ever seen it, it's beautiful purple flowers. It's really nice. But the artichokes are just spectacular. They're high in soluble fiber. And soluble fiber kind of swells up in your colon, makes you feel full, cleans your colon out, flushes out excess bile, toxic chemicals, estrogen. So the soluble fiber is just amazing. And the artichoke's amazing. But if you don't know how to cook it, that's the secret. And I've been to restaurants in Little Italy, New York, and I've been to fancy restaurants. I've never had an artichoke as good as mine. So it's in the book, Eating Right for the Health of It, that recipe. So spinach is also something. It's high in iron, but it gives you about 3 grams of protein for half a cup of cooked serving. But of course, if you ever cook spinach, it cooks down almost nothing. But throwing spinach in anything you want, in soups and salads, cook it in, if you're making a sauce, throw the spinach in there. It's awesome. There's something called Bulgar Wheat. Bulgar wheat is just a wheat kernel that's kind of cracked wheat, they call it. I don't like Bulgar wheat. It is very filling, by the way, but it is high in gluten, which can cause an inflammatory reaction. And unfortunately, in the United States especially, We spray a lot of our wheat, unless it's organic, with glyphosate. Glyphosate is a weed killer. If you have weed killer out in your garage right now, chances are it's glyphosate. And glyphosate, highly toxic, can mess with your hormones, can act as an antibiotic and kill off bacteria in your colon. And there's even lawsuits now, and I don't know why it's still on the market, but there's people have won many, many lawsuits of getting cancer from using glyphosate. People that use it on a regular basis, especially farmers and things like this. But it's still on the market. If you're going to do any type of wheat or any type of oats, I'm on my knees begging you, please do organic. Because at least you don't get the glyphosate. Still has gluten in it. Still may not be the healthiest thing for you, but you want to take out that glyphosate. A lot of people used to not have problems eating wheat, and now they do. It may not be the gluten in the wheat. It may be the glyphosate. And I don't know how to test that, really. So a lot of people, when they switch over to European wheat, for example, where they don't use glyphosate, don't have a problem. They switch to organic, they don't have a problem. So please, if you're going to do wheat, and Bulgar wheat makes a very nice salad, just try to do organic if you can. Wild rice really isn't white rice, by the way. It's actually grass seed. Interesting fun fact for you there. But it gives you lots of protein, makes you feel full, has magnesium, B6, and it's in the grocery store where they sell the regular white rice. But wild rice is more crunchy, it's harder, and it's very, very filling. So if you're thinking to yourself, well, Dr. Joe, I've been eating salads now, and I'm just starving all the time, and I can't lose the weight, you want to add some of these foods into your diet to try to get you healthy. And all the foods we talk about are going to be high in fiber. And I did a lecture a while ago for a group of doctors from all over the world, and it was on nutrition and pain management. How would nutrition weave into pain management? In fact, I'm the only chiropractor in the state board certified in pain management. And so I did a whole lecture on it, and it was so well received because so many times we look at pain management, we can do injections, and we can do cortisone, and we can do pills, maybe surgery. But nobody talks about managing the body's inflammatory response and getting the body healthy enough. So even if we do need those procedures, the body's going to be healthier when you do it. Make sense? And so when I did the lecture on pain management, one of the things I talked about was fiber. Because the bowels have to move at least twice a day. A healthy person is going to move at least twice a day, 2 to 3 times a day. If it's more than that, it might be an issue as well. But you want to keep the bowels moving. And fiber is going to be the key. And if you can flush out a lot of waste products and toxins, that brings down the inflammatory reaction, which can then systemically, meaning your whole body, system-wide, reduce the inflammation and help reduce pain. It's not going to get rid of all the pain, but it can help. And I've been in practice 40 years. I see patients in pain every day of my life. I either see them, I talk to them, I respond to them on my website. We're really good. My team of doctors and I are really good at managing pain and getting to the cause of the pain, not just treating the symptoms. So if you have pain, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, headaches, sciatica, make an appointment to come see us. In the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. I would love to be your doctor. Let's check the nervous system. Let's see why you have the pain. Is it a pinched nerve? Is it a muscle problem? Is it a chemical problem? I've had people have severe headaches for years, and I get them off diet soda, and the headaches go away. I get them off monosodium glutamate, headaches go away. Get them off coffee, headaches go away. So sometimes the pain is a chemical problem. So every patient that comes in our office, we do a physical exam and we do a nutrition exam. It's part of the treatment plan to try to get to the cause of the problem. So if you'd like to come see us, go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. You can book an appointment right online. We accept almost all insurances. There's 1 or 2 we don't accept. And if a doctor or a hospital doesn't accept your insurance, side note, it's because the insurance company is ridiculous and they're not paying the doctors enough to even cover the cost of their treatment. So why would a hospital or doctor accept what the insurance company is paying? Because each insurance company pays differently. So we accept almost all insurances, car accidents, sports injuries, Medicare, VA, if we're on the VA referral list. We want to help get to the cause of your problem. So go to my website, drjoe.com, book your appointment. We can do it virtually if we need to as well. But let's try to find out why you're having these health problems. Normally, the first visit is $940. I've reduced that to $299. That's for my listeners. That's an exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays, and a complete nutrition evaluation. Why wouldn't you do that? Insurance covers it. It's very inexpensive even if insurance doesn't cover it. It's very effective, most effective, least expensive treatment for pain. And we do the nutrition and we do the digestive analysis with you. I think you should be booking an appointment right now. So go to the website, drjoe.com, and let's get you in this week. There's there's nothing stopping you from doing that. drjoe.com. So if you're just tuning in, we're talking today about foods that make you feel full. And I said something earlier. I want to follow up on it. When you're hungry, you're not hungry for food. You're hungry for nutrition. And many times when people eat, they eat because they're malnourished. And the body's saying, give me nutrients. But you're not giving it nutrients. You're giving it ultra-processed foods and sugars and dairies and coffees and sodas. And that's not what the body wants. And so one of the things that I find that works really well for people that have trouble is Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. They're two powders. They taste great. And I take a scoop of each. I shake it up with some coconut milk or almond milk first thing in the morning. I add 10 drops of vitamin D3 to it as well. And that's the first thing I do in the morning. I drink that down. And boy, that makes you feel full, first of all. But it gives you the nutrients. So your brain says, I have enough nutrients. I'm going to be okay for a while. So that helps cut the cravings. And people tell me all the time, I eat so much less food, Dr. Joe, when I take your supplements. I remember many years ago, a patient said to me, I can't afford not to take your supplements. And I didn't understand what she meant by that. And then when she explained it, she goes, I have so much more energy. I work better. I'm making more money at work. I'm eating less food. I'm losing weight. My sex life's improved. Why wouldn't I do this? I can't afford not to. And I said, that's brilliant. I love that explanation. So the Super Greens, Essential Source, Vitamin D, B Complex, they're all on our website, drjoe.com, along with a bunch of other supplements too. If you have any questions, send them to me through the website, drjoe.com. Happy to answer your questions and give you my suggestions, if I have any, on whatever issue you might have. So drjoe.com, great source of information. We're talking today about foods that make you feel full. I said earlier about wheat and oats. If you're going to do wheat or oats, please do organic. Now, oats have a good reputation. In fact, a lot of them advertise helps lower cholesterol. And it can, but the best kind of oats to use would be steel-cut oats. Rolled oats, they take the steel cut, they heat it, and they literally roll it out. They steam it and roll it out. That's why it's flat. And then instant oats, they just grind that up and make it a powder. The problem with the instant especially, but also the old-fashioned rolled oats, is that it can spike your blood sugar. The steel cut oats actually lower your blood sugar. So if you're going to do oats, I recommend steel cut. It takes a few more minutes to cook, but it's actually better. It's more chewy. It's more filling. I can eat a bowl of oatmeal and not feel full. I can eat a bowl of steel cut oats and I'll feel pretty good about it. So just think about that. If you're going to do oats, organic steel cut is going to be your best choice. We talked about Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source, and there's something in our Essential Source, Super Greens, called spirulina. The two main ingredients in our Super Greens are chlorella and spirulina. And it's a vital nutrient. It's loaded with protein, and it's really kind of catching on in popular societies now. The zeitgeist is kind of picking up on this stuff. And spirulina and chlorella are just amazing. Chlorella can help detoxify your liver. And all of us need to detoxify our livers because the liver, everything you eat, everything you drink goes through your liver. And over time, as you get older, it gets clogged up. So chlorella is great for doing that. Spirulina, great source of protein. And in fact, if we can get more people eating chlorella and spirulina, we would solve a lot of the food crisis because chlorella and spirulina multiply very, very, very quickly. And they're very inexpensive. So if we can start doing that, and a lot of cultures do it already, you'd be amazed. That's why one of the reasons I take Super Greens and Essential Source every morning. You should too. There's so many different benefits to chlorella and spirulina. And the Essential Source, which is prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, complete multivitamin. And the digestive enzymes are key too, because as you get older, your digestive enzyme levels drop. And you're not digesting your food as well, so you're not going to absorb the nutrients as well. So another reason to take Super Greens and Essential Source, but it makes you feel full. And I know in the morning, if I do that, and I take my other supplements, I have to wait about an hour before I can eat. Because if I try eating before then, my stomach just feels so full, which is a great feeling. I mean, it's not good to feel that full, but it's great that you feel full. All right, I realize I got to go to break. If you have any health questions, folks, send it through my website, drjoe.com. Follow me on social media. We post every single day. We have across all platforms probably about 1 million followers, but you're going to get 1-minute health tips every day. And if you don't like it, unfollow me. We do a newsletter. Go to my website, sign up for the newsletter. It's free. If you don't like it, unsubscribe. It's very simple. And on most of the platforms, we do 1-minute posts. On YouTube, of course, we do the longer posts, the more drawn-out explanations of things. But if you like this information and you want more, you can have it literally every day. So it's Dr. Joe Esposito. Facebook is the Dr. Joe Esposito. But if you have any questions, make an appointment, order the supplements, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. Folks, I really want to be your doctor. I want to get you well and keep you well. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. Got that one to the second. All right. You have questions for me?
What are simple habits that can lower cholesterol and help with high blood pressure?
Eat more fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. That really is the simplest thing you can do. Cut out what I call the 7 deadly sins of nutrition. That would be alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. And, I say cut out. I'm going to try to be softer, gentler this year. 80% of your diet, you want to cut out the alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. If 20% of your diet you're going to be a little more flexible on, I'll cut you some slack there. But high blood pressure is a symptom. It's telling you something's wrong. High cholesterol, it's a symptom telling you something's wrong. 1 in 100 people have genetically high cholesterol. 99 out of 100 would benefit, everybody would benefit from diet. So why not do the things that are better, cheaper, faster, help with longevity, hopefully get you well enough so you don't need the medications. And with high blood pressure, it could be a digestive issue too, because the same nerves that control your digestive system control your heart. And if you have acid reflux, burping, gas, bloating, diarrhea, irritable bowel syndrome, that can actually irritate the vagus nerve and raise the blood pressure. So fixing the digestive system many times bring down the blood pressure. So what else you got?
During my last annual exam, I had too much potassium. Should I be concerned? I don't eat lots of bananas.
It could be a kidney issue. If the potassium is too high, it could be a kidney issue. So you definitely want to talk to your medical doctor and find out why. But a simple thing to do to lower the potassium is drink a lot more water, and it can flush the potassium out of the system. But if you have high potassium, it could be that you're not metabolizing it properly. But look at your diet. I mean, apricots are high in potassium. Maybe go Google list of foods high in potassium. And it may not be bananas you're eating. It could be something else you're eating that could be raising the potassium levels. But usually the body's able to regulate that. So consider more water and see if that helps. And you can go to my website, drjoe.com, and put kidney in the search bar. And we did a real good show on kidney function. You might want to listen to that one as well. What else you got?
What are your thoughts on canola oil?
Horrible. Never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, use it. It's horrible. I did a show a couple of weeks ago on oils. You can go to my website and listen to it. And we talk about the polyunsaturated fats, the canolas, the corns, the soy, the safflower, the sunflower. That's a problem. Like canola oil comes from something called rapini. When I grew up, it was called broccoli rabe. And that's where it comes from. And it grows in Canada very well. That's why it's called Canadian oil, canola. And in the broccoli rabe itself, it's fine. When it's processed and sucked out and heated and extracted, that's when it becomes dangerous. So if you're going to eat broccoli rabe, you're probably okay. So sometimes it's genetically modified. But the canola oil is the danger. Same thing with sunflower and safflower. It's not a problem until it's processed. So stay away from canola oil. Bottom line.
I've heard that the carnivore diet can completely reverse type 2 diabetes. Is that true?
It might help with blood sugar, but it can cause so many other side effects. I would strongly advise you don't do it. If you go to my website, drjoe.com, and just look up meat and listen to the lecture we did on meat, hopefully I can convince you from a scientific standpoint that it's not a good idea. So it may help one. And there's plenty of other things you can do for diabetes. If you have diabetes, go to drjoe.com, type diabetes in the search bar, listen to the show we did on diabetes. The carnivore diet short-term might be beneficial. Long-term, I would strongly advise you don't consider that. What else?
How often should I eat beets?
Beets? You can have them every day if you want. Doesn't matter to me. Beets are great. Beets are high in nitrates, which convert into nitric oxide. I was out to lunch yesterday, winery up in North Georgia, actually, and it was an Italian winery. And the food was okay. The service was horrible. But I had a arugula salad, and arugula has way more nitrates than beets, which converts into nitric oxide. But a better source still would be Dr. Joe's nitric oxide support. The nitric oxide support is a capsule form. It's citrulline, which converts into nitric oxide. I take 4 a day. You should too, by the way. don't take nitric oxide supplements if you have low blood pressure. It can be an issue. And so just be careful with that. Now, if you're in the Georgia area, there's a really cool place that I found. It's called the Food Commune. And you can go to Facebook, look up foodcommune.org. And they get food that's being rescued from grocery stores, restaurants. And Saturdays, they put it up for sale, usually like 50 to 90% off prices. And I was there the other day. I got 15 bags of groceries for $30. I mean, it really, really, really is cheap. But Food Commune, foodcommune.org is the website. But Facebook's Food Commune, and it's in Decatur area, and it's amazing. I mean, how much stuff they have, and it's really, 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 a lot of it's even free. They're like, we got to get rid of this stuff. It's free. Get it out of here. So anyway, I want to give them a plug because it's a great way to get a lot of fruits and vegetables very inexpensively and just add it to your diet. What I find, if I have a lot of fruits and vegetables in my house, I eat a lot more fruits and vegetables too because I want to get rid of them. So anyway, plug there. What else you got?
I was on a GLP-1, but I came off of it 4 weeks ago. Now I'm having digestive and horrible gas issues. What are your thoughts?
Well, what happens is it creates gastroparesis. That's those injections that help you lose weight. And I hear this on everyone I've spoken to that have taken GLP-1 agonists. Again, sarcopenia, muscle wasting. You lose about 30% of your weight is muscle loss. Digestive issues, heart issues, brain issues, thyroid issues. What we need to do now is the horrible gas is because the digestive system is so slow, the food is essentially sitting in your gut and it's rotting. So if you have heartburn or acid reflux, either way, you should probably come see us. Because I've had several people come off it in their stomach. We can massage the stomach and pull it down away from the diaphragm. And many times that helps the digestive system kind of jumpstart again. But I've had a lot of people email me from all over the world saying they did what you did and the digestive system never really jump-started again. So sometimes you need a little physical help. So come see us and let's see if we can help you jump-start it again.
Does intermittent fasting help with diabetes and weight loss?
Oh, my gosh, yes. In fact, I have an article I need to cover on one of my shows that intermittent fasting is more powerful than calorie restriction when it comes to weight loss, which is pretty amazing. So with intermittent fasting, you want to do at least 12 hours a day not eating. So if I have dinner at 6 o'clock at night, don't eat again until 6 o'clock in the morning. When we start seeing the weight loss kick in is I'm finding it around 12 to 14 hours of not eating. So if I have dinner at 4 o'clock at night and I don't eat again until 6 o'clock in the morning, I just got 14 hours. Pretty simple. And that alone is, like I said, more powerful than calorie restriction in many cases. Of course, a certain amount of calorie restriction. But yes, it can also stabilize blood sugar. Now, if you're diabetic and you start intermittent fasting and you start crashing, if you wake up in the middle of the night, you may have something called nocturnal hypoglycemia, which means your blood sugar is too low. So for someone like that, maybe intermittent fasting, maybe you're doing it too far. Instead of 12 hours, do 10 hours or do 11 hours and see how you do. But many people do great by stabilizing blood sugar with the intermittent fasting, and weight loss, of course, can help with the blood sugar too. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of intermittent fasting. I do it every day.
I've heard that fasting is so beneficial because the body begins consuming damaged cells first. Is that true?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the body will, when it starts to, digest itself, so to speak, it does the damaged cells first. So that's why it's so good. So at least 12 hours a day, please, folks. I mean, that's an absolute no-brainer. That's not negotiable. And then if you can go to 14 hours, even better still.
What type of diet is recommended for a person with a thin colon lining?
You would definitely want to stay away from anything that's going to inflame the colon. So that would be the two biggies would be wheat and dairy products. So if you have everybody should stay away from wheat and dairy anyway, but especially people with digestive issues. You want to build up that lining the best you can, so you want to give it a lot of raw nutrients. And so Dr. Joe's Superg Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source, absolute no-brainer. Everyone should be doing those anyway. If you're not doing it, you should. I don't know what else to tell you. You should be doing it. We have mint and we have plain Superg Greens. I like the mint flavor better. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to have berry-flavored Superg Greens coming out and mango-flavored Essential Source, so just prepare yourself. They're really tasty. But Superg Greens and Essential Source, a lot of high-concentrated nutrients without a lot of fiber, a lot of chemicals to irritate the colon lining. And then if you do have acid reflux or heartburn, come see us. We may have to adjust your stomach. We want to check the nerve supply from the spine that goes to the colon. That could be an issue as well. And the flavonoids, bioflavonoids, can help build up the colon lining as well, just like the blood vessel lining. So that's why a plant-based diet is definitely where you want to be. So go to my website, drjoe.com, and type in, "So what can I eat?" and listen to a lecture I did on that. That'll answer a lot of your questions.
What are the benefits of tea tree oil?
It's antibiotic and antifungal, so it's very good. In fact, I use it as a deodorant. I take tea tree oil and alcohol. And in fact, I did a post on it. I think if you go to my Facebook page and scroll down, there's a picture of me standing in my kitchen. Most of them are here in the studio, but I'm standing in my kitchen. And I take, what was it? If I remember, like a cup of rubbing alcohol and was it 4 tablespoons or something of tea tree oil? And I just mix it up. I have a spray bottle in my shower. And so after I shower, I spray the alcohol and tea tree oil as a deodorant. Make sure you shave your armpits, men and women, because that's where the bacteria lives. And it works really well as a natural deodorant. Now, if you're going to be working outside, it's probably not going to be that good, but I use it every day and it's fine. So tea tree oil is just an antimicrobial. Yeah, works great.
Don't too many beets and spinach contribute to kidney stones?
The beets, not so much, but the spinach, yes. It can if you have a tendency to form kidney stones. So the beets are not so high in oxalates, but the spinach is. So you might want to avoid those. But if you're drinking a lot of water, you should be in good shape. And again, how many people eat spinach every single day? Not many. How many people eat beets every day? Not many. Now, if you do have a tendency to form kidney stones, you might want to avoid them. That's why you want to switch over to Dr. Joe's nitric oxide support to get that blood supply flowing without the oxalates. So
that is all.
All right. Let's rock on to part 2. Five radio shows to do this week. I got a lot to talk about. Where was I? Okay, I'm ready. Hey, folks, Dr. Joe here. If you just joined me, welcome. If you stayed with me, I appreciate that very much. We're talking today about foods that make you feel full. And these are important topics because so many people say, well, Dr. Joe, I don't know what to eat. And when I'm hungry, I just want to eat cookies and cakes. How do I curb these cravings? How do I feel full? It's exactly what we're talking about today. Green peas, excellent. One of the tricks I do is I have frozen bags of organic green peas in my freezer. And if I don't have time to make lunch, I make my lunch almost every day. Very rarely do I not make my lunch, unless I have a meeting or something like that. But it's just part of my morning routine. I make my lunch. And if I just don't have anything laying around, I'll grab a bag of frozen peas. I'll boil them just to heat them up. I'll add a little extra virgin organic olive oil, oregano or some Italian seasoning, salt, pepper, and garlic powder. And I'll add nutritional yeast. I'm going to cover that in just a second. I'll mix it up, and that's my lunch. I made like a pea casserole. Bag of frozen peas, organic, might cost you $2, $2.50. The olive oil and the seasoning, maybe another 50 cents. So you're getting this amazing lunch for about $3. Very filling, very good for you. High in fiber, high in iron, high in vitamin C. So there's no reason not to be doing this, and it's kind of my fallback go-to, oh my gosh, it's morning and I didn't prepare for my lunch. Usually I have a salad, but sometimes I don't get to the store. The salad, I want to make sure it's fresh. So that's just a neat little thing. So green peas, and they're so easy because you can take them and throw them into anything. You can throw them in soups. You can throw them in salads. So frozen bags of organic green peas are really a nice thing to have around the house, and they make you feel full, and they're good for you. And that $3 lunch is going to fill me up way more than if I go out for a $12 Chinese meal. Because the rice is going to be a sugar, and it's going to have monosodium glutamate in it, and it's going to have issues. This is quick, easy, simple. And nutritional yeast is a great source of B vitamins. It's a great source of protein. It's very filling. And if you've never used nutritional yeast, it has almost a sharp, cheesy flavor to it, like a sharp cheddar cheese. So it adds umami flavor. Umami is a savory flavor. So it adds a very savory flavor to the meals. Works great in soups, works great in salads. Nutritional yeast is something you probably should have on hand just to use as a seasoning, if nothing else. But it tastes great, too. And it really makes you feel full. We talked about sweet potatoes. The same thing works with regular potatoes. Do organic. Anything that grows underground, you want to do organic as well. So organic potatoes work great. You don't have to put a lot of butter. The potato itself isn't bad. It's the butter and the junk we put on it. And especially if you cook it and either you make mashed potatoes or slice it up or just baked potatoes, cool it overnight in the refrigerator and eat it the next day, you create a resistant starch. And it was interesting. We post every day on social media. And I posted a post on this a couple of months ago on resistant starches. And it was amazing. I mean, 98% of people, we had about 1 million views on it. So, a lot of people loved it. But every now and then, well, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. You're a jerk. You're stupid. I'm like, no, it's science. It has nothing to do with me being stupid or not. It's very clear science. If you take starches, refrigerate them, the next day it's a resistant starch. You absorb about 40% less carbohydrates. So it really is a neat little thing that you can add to your diet. And if you make a few sweet potatoes, regular potatoes, put them in a refrigerator, make them on a Sunday, you have them. They'll last in a refrigerator for 4 or 5 days. Real quick, real easy. You can eat them cold. You can warm them up. You can add salsa to them if you want. Maybe saute up some onions and mushrooms and add that to it. Mash them up if you want to. Add peas and mashed potatoes. Great combination there. So these are foods that really make you feel full. And that's what we're talking about today. What foods can I eat that make me feel full and are satisfying and help beat my cravings? And so these are some things you can mix together too. We talked about flax seeds. Chia seeds work very well too. Chia seeds are little tiny seeds. You can soak them to make them softer if you want to. Maybe soak them for 10, 15 minutes before you eat them. But chia seeds work great too. If you want to grind them up, even better still. But they're high in omega-3 fatty acids. They're high in fiber. They're high in proteins. And so they can really make you feel full. And that's why not long ago there was a big craze called overnight oats. And you took oats and chia seeds and like a plant-based milk, maybe some fruit, and just put it in the refrigerator overnight. And the next day it kind of became a pudding, and you ate it that way. Works great. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of rolled oats. If you could do steel-cut oats, better still. You might want to cook the steel-cut oats first, and then you could add the chia seeds, a little plant-based milk, some seasoning to it, some cinnamon, stevia if you want to, and that'll make a nice overnight oat dish. Very filling, very good for you. Great source of fiber too. There's a grain it's actually a seed you've probably never heard of, and it's called teff, T-E-F-F. Very big in Ethiopian food, and they make a bread out of it called an injera. When I say bread, I say that loosely. They take the injera, and I've tried doing it. I just didn't quite figure it out. And you ferment it, actually. And you ferment it for a couple of days, and then you put it in a frying pan and just kind of heat it up a little bit. And it comes out like a rubbery pancake. And in Ethiopian food, you tear off a piece of this rubbery pancake. It's called injera. And you pick up the food with that, and you eat it with your hands. My favorite cuisine is Ethiopian food. I like Thai food. I like Italian food. I like German food. My favorite is Ethiopian food. And it's very filling. In fact, when I go with my friends, if you ever go to an Ethiopian restaurant, get the veggie platter and order one for 2 people. If we go 3, we'll order two for 3 people. But don't try to get one on your own. Usually it's way too much to eat on your own. And you're going to feel full and stuffed, and it's too much. You can always add more if you want to. Remember, my mother always said that. You can always add more. You can't take it away, though. And teff is kind of cool. And the only way I know to cook it is with an injera. But I really, really like it. If you've never had Ethiopian food, I recommend you try it. Chickpeas are very filling, too. You can make hummus out of them. You could just put them in a salad. If I'm eating a salad by itself, I'll add some chickpeas to it, a can of organic chickpeas. I'll rinse them off, and then I'll put them in a salad, and that's a full meal in itself. Go to restaurants. I went to an Italian winery in North Georgia the other day, and the food was okay, but I should have gotten a salad because I would have felt more satisfied than what I had, and it had chickpeas in it, and I thought, that's right there. There's a whole meal in itself. So you don't have to have salad as a side dish. You can have salad as a main course. And if you add black beans, chickpeas, white beans to it, kidney beans, cannellini beans, it really becomes a full meal then. Easy to digest, great for you, very inexpensive, and it helps curb those cravings. And that's what we're talking about today. How do you curb those cravings? Nutritional yeast, it's a deactivated yeast, so it's not a live yeast. But if you've never had it, I really want you to start trying it. And like I said, it has a savory flavor to it. Like a sharp cheddar cheese, and it goes great in soup. It goes great on salads. You can put it on potatoes. You can mix it into salad dressings. I use it a lot, and I really enjoy it, especially with my soups. Something that's going to add a savory flavor to it without adding a lot of salt, because a lot of times soups, commercial soups especially, have a lot of salt in it. Make your own soups. Soup is so easy, so cheap. I mean, think about this. Think about the foods that the poor people eat around the world. Beans and rice, soups, the Italian dishes with pastas in it. There are so many foods that are so easy to make, you just never thought about it. I never thought to make lentil soup. I always went out and bought it. Well, I have one of those one pots or whatever it is. It's a pressure cooker. And I throw in the lentils, carrots, celery, onions, water. I could put some seasoning in there if I want. Turn it on. An hour later, I've got lentil soup or split pea soup. And then you could add something like nutritional yeast to it instead of adding the salt, and it really gives it that nice savory flavor. And it's a great source of protein, and it's a great source of B vitamins. Not B12 unless it's fortified, but it's a great source of B vitamins as well. If you haven't tried it, try it. Now, barley is another type of soup. I remember when I was a kid, I ate a lot of barley soup. My German grandmother made it. Barley does have gluten in it, but barley has a lot of soluble fiber as well. So barley soups can be great. Now, you don't have to have just beans or just lentils or just barley. Mix them together. There's a novel idea. And you can mix them together, and you can buy 15-bean soup or 12-bean soup and add the barley to it. And it really has a nice flavor and so filling and so inexpensive. And so what I do is I'll make a big batch of it on a weekend. Again, I timed it one time, 14 minutes to prepare. Put it in a pressure cooker, wait an hour, come back, it's done. The hardest part is you have to take the pressure cooker and wash it, which is, again, it's just washing a dish is all it is. But I have glass jars. I save glass jars. If I have anything in glass, I'll save it. And I'll put the soup after it cools into glass jars, leave about probably a quarter of the jar empty, and then freeze it. The reason I say leave it empty is when things freeze, they do what? They expand. And so as it expands, it can break your glass jars open. I've done that before, so you don't have to trust me on this. So leave enough room so the glass to expand. And then when you need a soup, if you have, single-size servings of these glass jars, just take it out that night, the night before, the next day, heat it up, bring it to work in a thermos, and you've got soup. Filling, healthy, inexpensive, great source of fiber, great source of nutrients. And it's cheaper and faster than going to a store and buying it. That's the nice part about it. You may have to make an initial investment. Now you can put it in a crock pot or a regular pot too, but the pressure cooker is so easy. Turn it on, walk away, it's done. That's it. Now when a pressure cooker is done, it's going to release a lot of steam. I have to give you a warning here. So what I do is I take the pressure cooker, I carry it outside on my back porch, and I release the steam valve and let the steam release. Now if you let it sit there for an hour or two, the steam's going to naturally calm down, which actually is a better way to do it because you preserve the flavors, but I want to get things done. Bring it on my back porch, release the steam. It takes about 10 minutes to release all the pressure. Open it up, let it cool down a little bit, put it in jars, wash it out, you're done. And now you have, a week's worth of meals. Don't have to have it every day, but you can make easily 7 meals out of a pot of soup. And then nutritional yeast adds an even bigger benefit to it as well. So nutritional yeast is kind of a cool thing. The barley is great. Spelt is another grain you could use. Some people have a reaction to that if they're sensitive to gluten, so you might want to be careful with that. But if you've never had spelt, it's okay. There's spelt bread, which is kind of like a wheat bread made with spelt. Some gluten in it, but a lot of people can tolerate the spelt better than they can the wheat. I love bread. Right. Full disclosure, I love bread. I'm Italian. Bread is amazing. But I don't do well when I eat bread. I get sinus problems. I feel bloated. And so if I do eat bread, spelt would be a better choice. The best choice would be something called Ezekiel bread. I was going to cover that later, but I want to jump into it now. Ezekiel bread is made with sprouted wheat. So they take the wheat kernels, they sprout it, then they dry it, grind it into a flour. And Ezekiel bread, the gluten is broken down mostly when it sprouts. And so Ezekiel bread, if I had to pick the best bread, would be that. You usually get it in the frozen section of the grocery store. Ezekiel bread is a brand name. I think it's a brand name. It's called Ezekiel anyway. But I know Kroger carries it in the refrigerated section as well, and it's several dollars cheaper. It's the Kroger brand. And it's frozen, so whenever you need a piece, just take it out of the freezer and, be careful slicing it off, and then you could use that. So Ezekiel bread would be a good choice too. Lots of protein, very filling. It's been eaten for generations, of course. It's been around forever. So that might be something to consider as well. Because what we're talking about today are foods that make you feel full. And people always say, well, I don't know what to eat. I can't eat salads all the time. I just get hungry all the time. And I'm giving you an hour of probably 30 or 40 different options that you can add to your diet and be amazed how it feels. And, I always say try to do it best you can. At least listen to me 80% of the time. If you want to do your thing 20% of the time or 10% of the time, even better, That's up to you, but at least listen to me 80% of the time and watch what happens. And if it doesn't work, so what? It didn't work. I lied to you. I'm not lying to you, though. There are so many foods, healthy foods, that can make you feel full, break those sugar cravings, add so many quality years to your life, and save a ton of money. Why wouldn't you do these things? That's why I'm trying to teach you. And it's what I do in all my healthcare approaches. What's going to be the most effective, least expensive treatment for this condition? Maybe it's chiropractic care. Maybe it's surgery. Maybe it's medicine. Maybe it's physical therapy. I don't know. Let's find out what the best treatment's going to be for you. So if you have a health issue, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, digestive issues, go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. You can book an appointment right now. We have offices in the Atlanta area, Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. If I don't have an office near you, let me know. I'll try to find a qualified doctor wherever you are. I know pretty much everybody. So I'm trying to get you the best treatment possible. If it can't be with us, I want it to be somewhere. I don't want you to not get care. I want you to get the best care that you can wherever you are. We do a nutrition evaluation on every single patient that comes in. Why is that? Because I want to try to give you the best quality care possible. And I feel that chemistry is important along with the physical alignment. Been in practice 40 years. Thousands, dare I say tens of thousands of people over the years have said thank you. I never knew that my problem was a chiropractic problem. My problem was a nutritional problem. My problem was a digestive problem. I've been to so many different doctors. I've spent so much money. And you're the first doctor to ever get to the cause of the problem. I'd love for you to have that opportunity as well. So go to my website, drjoe.com. You can book an appointment right now. Normally, the first visit is $940. I've reduced that to $299. That's an exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays, and a complete nutrition evaluation. Why wouldn't you do that? And at the end of that, if we're going to try to determine what's the best course of treatment. Is it with us? Great. If it's not, where can we send you? So drjoe.com, let's make it so that we can get to the cause of your healthcare problem. You can stop suffering needlessly. And we accept almost every insurance too. And if you don't have insurance, it's still the most effective, least expensive treatment for back pain. And you get the nutrition thrown in there too. drjoe.com. So we're talking today about foods that make you feel full. If you're going to do a milk, I don't recommend dairy milk, of course. I'm not a fan of dairy products. But you can do organic soy milk. Organic soy milk is going to be high in protein. It's going to make you feel full. Now, I've heard people say, well, I heard that it can make men grow boobs, and I've heard that it's high in estrogens. No, it's phytoestrogens, plant estrogens. They don't work nearly the same as animal estrogens that you're going to get eating hamburgers and steak and chicken. So it makes no sense when people are concerned about the phytoestrogens in soy, yet they're going to eat steak. Steak is I don't know, say gazillion, a lot more bioactive hormones in it than a soy milk have. And in fact, soy milk can actually act as a xenoestrogen, foreign estrogen, but a good estrogen. And it's a phytoestrogen that can block the receptor sites. You don't absorb as much other estrogens from other things like meats. So soy milk is a good choice. Pumpkin seeds are great. Pumpkin seeds can also help kill parasites. It's not a bad idea to assume you have parasites in your body. And if you like to snack on pumpkin seeds for a few weeks or a few months, and that can also help clean out the parasites as well. There's something called wheat berries. That is actually the whole wheat. And then wheat berries are broken down into cracked wheat or Bulgar wheat, and then it's ground up into flour and regular wheat. Again, that might work, but if you're going to do wheat, you want to make sure it's organic because you do run the risk of glyphosate, weed killer, being sprayed on it. And unfortunately, I'm very saddened to report that the government has now approved genetically modified wheat to start being processed. Breaks my heart. I'm not a fan of genetically modified foods. I'm hoping that the future is bright and we can change some of these things. But at this point, until it changes, I wouldn't recommend that. We talked about chickpeas, but any type of beans, black beans, white beans, these things are very filling. That's why if you go to a Mexican restaurant, usually you walk out of there stuffed. Some people eat meat, of course. But one of the reasons you feel so full is because of the corn chips. I've reported on this a while ago. Please do not eat fried chips. I know you're going to yell at me. I know you're going to be mad at me. But it's one of the worst combinations of toxins you can put in your body. Genetically modified corn, polyunsaturated fats, heated. The crispiness of the chip is acrylamides, which are carcinogenic. And there's no redeeming benefit to the chips except one. And what's that one? You've listened to me before. They taste good. They do. I love chips. What I do if I go to a Mexican restaurant is I tell them not to bring the chips. Because if they're on the table, I'm going to eat them. I'm tempted. Now, if you're going to eat chips, because again, I negotiate everything with you, I want you to consider 6 chips max. I made that number up, by the way. 6 chips max. This way you can put all the salsa you want, all the guacamole you want, but just 6 chips. Please limit the intake of those polyunsaturated fats, those corn oil, canola oil, soybean oil, cottonseed oil, peanut oil. They're so dangerous. In fact, for diabetics, they're even worse than sugar. Wow. You thought sugar was bad for diabetics. Polyunsaturated seed oils are much worse. So please avoid them at all costs, if you can. I want you to. We talked about quinoa the other day, a couple of minutes ago. Quinoa is a seed. It's great if you've never had it. It's kind of fun. It has a very benign flavor to it. When you boil it up, it almost becomes translucent. You can almost see through it. It's kind of weird. But quinoa is great. It makes a really good salad. Makes a great soup as well. And these are some things you can make a batch of, put it in the refrigerator, and throughout the week, add some salad dressing to it, add some peas to it, chop up some artichoke hearts, and make a salad out of it, onions, real quick, real easy, real inexpensive, and very filling. And it's going to cost you literally pennies compared to going out to lunch somewhere. And you could cook it up. It'll last in the refrigerator 4 or 5 days. So try that. Cook it up. I'm not a fan of these textured soy proteins, these fake meats. They use polyunsaturated fats, chemicals, additives, genetically modified soy. They texture the soy protein to make it taste like meat, but it releases glutamic acid, which is monosodium glutamate, which can be toxic to the brain. So I'm not a fan of fake meats. I've tried them. They're tasty. I don't want you to do it on a regular basis, though, so please don't do that. I'm going to talk a little bit more about soy. Edamame is actually very filling. You've had edamame, is it still soybeans? Really good, again, organic only, because otherwise the chances are it's going to be genetically modified. But edamame is very fun. It's a fun food. It's kind of like artichokes. I always consider fun foods. And they're fun to eat. They taste great, and they're very, very filling. Lots of health benefits to it as well. Lentils. We talked about lentils the other day because my grandmother would always make lentil soup, and I make lentil soup on a regular basis too. So inexpensive, make you feel so full. They're high in fiber, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants. Again, I have a lentil soup recipe in the first book I ever wrote, Eating Right for the Health of It. But it's so quick and so easy, and there's no reason why you shouldn't be making yourself lentil soups, split pea soups, barley soups, again, gluten no with some people, 3-bean soups, black bean soup, because soups are so quick, so easy. So what you do, I would say carrots, onions, and celery is the starting point, water and lentils. Cook it up, add seasoning to it, add nutritional yeast to it if you want to. If you're going to use salt, I recommend air-dried sea salt or Celtic salt. That's the best. Pink salt is good unless it comes from China. The pink salt from China, there's been studies done and we're finding heavy metals in there that are dangerous. So Celtic salt is going to be your best bet. And add a little bit of salt to it, a little bit of pepper. You could add some spicy, like a hot sauce or something to it if you like it that way. And then right before you eat it, add a tablespoon or 2 of raw organic apple cider vinegar. And the vinegar is going to stimulate your digestive enzymes, so you break it down more efficiently, lower the gas that's produced by these things, and it's going to help you absorb the nutrients more efficiently. So if you learn nothing else, eat more soups, folks. And again, you don't have to use bouillon, because bouillon many times has monosodium glutamate in it. Even the veggie bouillon, which I've used in the past, all it is, it's salt, sugar, mace, which is kind of like a seasoning, and that's about it. So why not just add your own salt and your own seasonings and save the money on the bouillon cubes? If you want to use something like tamari, tamari is made from soybeans. Tamari is a soy sauce that doesn't have monosodium glutamate in it. A lot of commercial soy sauce does. Add some organic tamari to it. It is made with wheat, though. They have wheat-free, too, if you want to get that. And add a little bit of that to it to give it a more savory flavor as well. So you're going to save so much money and feel so good. So tofu is great. Try to do organic. I know people make fun of tofu. I love tofu. I think it's great. Tofu has so many different uses. It's so wonderful. You could smash it up, and you can make filling for cannolis if you want to. You can make filling for lasagnas and stuffed shells if you want to. But tofu is so versatile. I don't have a lot of time to go into how amazing it is. Hemp hearts. You can buy hemp hearts it looks like a sprinkle, and you can sprinkle that in there. That's great. And buckwheat is also something that's good. It's not really wheat. It's just called buckwheat. I wish it wasn't, but that's something else you can consider as well. All right, I'm almost out of time. I got so much more to cover. Any questions, send them to me through my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. Make an appointment to come see us. That's really the best thing you can do. And we can do it virtually or in person, drjoe.com. Normally the first visit is $940. I've reduced that for you, my listeners, to $299. We accept almost all insurances, car accidents. Hey, if you're ever in a car accident, if the car is damaged, you're damaged. I've never seen it any other way. And you're going to get phone calls from scammers as soon as you're in the accident. Go see this doctor. Go see this lawyer. I'm going to give you $100. It's illegal and it's a felony. Don't fall for it. If you need help finding a doctor, whether it's me or somebody else, call me, send me an email, drjoe.com. I'm happy to help. I want to get you well and keep you well. drjoe.com. Bam. All right. You have más preguntas?
What do you think about an all-organic diet along with grass-fed and finished beef?
I don't eat meat, but if you're going to eat meat, that would be the best kind. Yeah, I always say if you're going to eat meat, it's got to be, any animal product's got to be organic. But that's your call if you're going to eat meat or not. But if you are, that's the kind to do it. What else?
How much fruit is too much per day?
If you start getting shaky, if you start getting nauseous, you're probably eating too much. I don't want you to eat all fruit. There was a way back when I first started getting into nutrition, there was a fellow named T.C. Fry. And he had written some books, and this is way before the internet. And I was excited. I read his books, and it really kind of got me into the health food, natural foods, and everything. And he was coming in town, and I was so excited to meet him. When I met him, he looked horrible. And he was a fruitarian. He ate nothing but fruit. And he died. And it concerned me because I think he had too much fruit. But again, that's all he ate was fruit. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner was fruit. So it's going to be really hard to eat too much fruit. If you start feeling queasy, just stop. Cut back. Don't stop. Just cut back. What else you got?
Do you suggest a parasite cleanse?
It's not a bad idea to do it. I'm perfectly fine with it. You can do it and see what happens. Yeah, I'm okay with it. If you want to do it, knock yourself out.
What are some healthy Christmas cookies?
I was on Eric Von Hessler's show the other day, and he does a Christmas special, and he was making fun, like Santa left his bag of, they were assuming like drugs. They were making jokes about it, and Santa needed his drugs, and they brought me on, and they said, Dr. Joe, what advice can you give Santa? I said, well, Santa, I'm very worried about your cholesterol. I've seen your blood work. I said, maybe you want to start doing some gluten-free cookies, maybe with molasses instead of sugar. And, of course, they kind of ran down a rabbit hole with that. But if you're going to do cookies, I would recommend gluten-free. Again, it's still a lot of sugar, so it's not a good idea. You can sweeten with molasses. It's not a great idea, but it's high in iron, so it's a better idea. Again, it's all about better choices. You can do, if you want to do an oatmeal raisin or something like that, you can do steel-cut oats. Cook them first instead of dried oats and then dry them out again. Cook them and let them dry. And you can do that. You don't have to use eggs. There's plenty of egg replacers out there. Baking soda would help it as well. But the best cookie, if you're going to do it, would be a raw cookie. And I have recipes in my first book about that. And basically you take dried organic fruits and nuts and put them in a food processor and whip them up and then press them down and don't bake them. That would be great too. But there are no really good Christmas cookies. Sorry. So, now, when I say good, the kind you're thinking of. So, what else you got?
Several listeners are passing along their happy holiday greetings to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. Merry Christmas to everyone, I hope. And New Year. Hope everything's good. Happy Hanukkah. I'm not Jewish, by the way. Everyone thinks I am. Everywhere I go, people wish me Happy Hanukkah. And I appreciate that because I want to have a Happy Hanukkah too. But I want, yes, enjoy these holidays. And let's start out the new year making some choices. You have to eat anyway. You might as well eat good food. If you're in pain, you know chiropractic care is the most effective, least expensive treatment. Supplements are not a luxury. They're a necessity. Treat yourself to Superg Greens, Essential Source, B-Complex, and Vitamin D. Do it for a month. See what happens. You'll thank me later. What else you got?
That is all.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you guys very much, and I'll see you next week. So.